see 3 or 4 BSU kids,
Sure.
it's like, oh, it's a jump.
I mean, it didn't sound right from the beginning.
Hey.
It didn't sound right.
Good morning, Coach.
You
It's not for you.
kind of watch it. Yeah.
Of course.
Just have to
I'm not supposed to say ever.
watch.
How you doing?
Doing well, you?
Doing good.
I asked facilities there. Just go ahead and open up right away.
Sparse crowd today, huh?
Yeah, we'll be filling in.
probably.
Maybe.
Virginia State called that.
No cheap shots of mama.
Need more than
No cheap
this?
shots.
Is that what's going on? You guys ready back there?
We're good.
Which give us an idea about what, unique challenges going to a tournament like this presents.
Well, the biggest challenge is just the high-level competition. So, we're going to play, obviously, a terrific team in Florida State from the ACC, and then very, very strong. So it's a great challenge from a competition standpoint. Then from there, you're playing 3 games in 4 days. You're playing back-to-back games the first 2 nights, which is just different. Guys are not used to that. I hear coaches all the time talk about, well, these guys play 3 and 4 games a day in AAU. Well, these aren't AAU games, brother. I mean, this is a different deal. So there's a lot of energy expended. There's a lot of emotional energy, and for us, we play at 8:30 Puerto Rico time on Thursday, and so and that's the earliest we'll play. It could be later than that, depending on the game before us. By the time we get done, and back to the hotel, it's going to be probably past midnight, and now it's a very, very quick turnaround to get ready for the next game.
Coach, you talked about your depth Saturday after the Winford game. You played 14 guys, if I'm right, in that game. How will that help you in this tournament, playing so many games in such a quick tournament?
Well, hopefully we can play a lot of guys, just to provide rest for all of our players, and particularly for our guys that typically log major minutes. But you can't just put guys in the midst of a tight game against a really good team unless they're able to go in and contribute to winning for your team. So we've through 3 games pretty consistently played 10 guys. Would love to get to 11. Maybe even this week play a 12th guy here and there just to provide rest.
You talk a little bit about Florida State and what they present. Leonard Hamilton's been there a while, so he's kind of developed a style.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Ham's done an awesome job there. And I was in the ACC as an assistant coach at Clemson, so know a lot about the program from the standpoint of just what they've done, and how much they've improved in the time that Coach Hamilton's been there. I think he's done just a phenomenal job, and he's really a coach I look up to. Brought in some great players and then gotten them to buy into a terrific system where they have great length and athleticism. Defensively, they really give people a lot of problems with that length, with that athleticism, blocking shots, high-level rebounding team. And then they've got a lot of guys on this year's team that can score the ball. So definitely a lot of different players to account for.
Is this system any different than it was when you played a couple years ago? Has it changed anything?
Not too much different. I mean, everything's different when you have different players. But it's like asking if our system's any different than when we played them 3 years ago. I mean, yes, in that we have different guys, they have different guys, but knowing that for the most part the core of what they do, what we do is similar.
Coach, is Terrence Shannon at all helpful in game planning for Florida State? Just helpful, being that he spent so much time there?
Well, I hope so. I mean, we'll see. He's obviously spent a lot of time there and was a really good player for them. I think he's a guy that can be helpful in game planning against a lot of teams because he's a senior and he's been around. I don't think it's necessarily something where we're going to, benefit from knowing all these deep secrets about what they do. They're not a team like that thrives on a lot of trickery. Kind of like UVA, they are who they are. But certainly we'll ask Terrence, what he can provide from a scouting standpoint, and as involved as he wants to be in the scouting report and the preparation, we would love that.
Has he talked at all about this game coming up in Florida State?
Yeah.
Has he given you an indication about his emotions leading into it or his mindset in terms of how he's viewing it?
No, not outside of. He wants to win, but we want to win at any game we play. But certainly he wants to win.
Coach, you guys prepare for this as a coaching staff, similar to the NCAA tournament, where you're looking have game plans and scouts together for Long Beach, Michigan, any team you could possibly face, and how beneficial is an early tournament like this for preparing for the NCAA tournament?
Well, we obviously do a scouting report, full scouting report on Florida State. Then our other two assistant coaches are in the middle of compiling scouting reports on Michigan and Long Beach State because we're going to play one of those two teams on Friday. We haven't done a lot. We've done some advanced stuff on the other four teams, but we haven't done nearly as much with those other four teams. We do have a day in between to kind of regroup, and then we also, at tournaments like this, a lot of people don't know this, but you also live scout. So we'll go to all the games, particularly assistant coaches. I'll do a little bit of it, but we'll go to the games. So those other four teams, by the time we play one of them on Sunday, we will have seen them live twice. So that goes into your scouting report as much or more than anything you've seen on tape. That's kind of the way we approach it. In terms of what the tournament can do for us, I think it gives you a good indication of where you are, what you're doing well at this point in the season, what you need to do better. I mean, regardless of the outcome, when we get back here and we get back on the practice court, we're going to need to get better. We're going to need to improve. We're going to need to make progress. And I think we've done that, over the last few years from these events that we've played in. 3 years ago, Joey's senior year was preseason NIT. Then, I think we got better during the month of December. The last couple years, I think we've really made strides during December and really gotten better. So that's going to be our emphasis regardless, but certainly these next three games are going to give us an indication of how we compare to some of the best teams in the country.
Off of that, you talk a lot about keeping guys staying hungry, especially with the early season success that you had. So how much thought do you actually put into ways to keep these guys hungry? And how much of it is their own responsibility to stay hungry and not get complacent?
Well, you can't make someone hungry. I've tried with my daughter before. Either she wants to eat or she doesn't. But it's one of those things that, it's our job as coaches to provide what we call external motivation. And it's the players' job. The best players I've been around are highly internally motivated. But, some guys just have more of that than others. That's just kind of the facts. And we have a wide range of guys on our team from that standpoint. It's not necessarily on our team that the best players are the more motivated ones. So, if you can't be motivated going into an event like this, then you got a problem. You probably shouldn't be playing basketball. I think our guys will be fine from that standpoint. Then when we get back, we'll kind of reset and regroup in terms of where things are. And, you know, this is such a critical time of year for us and really any team that's not in the ACC or, you know, the Big Ten or one of the top 3 or 4 leagues in the country. I looked at it the other day. It's about an 8.5-week stretch from November 8th, first game of the year, until you start conference play. And really, those 8.5 weeks for individual teams and also for entire conferences are going to determine, in a large respect, how you stack up numbers-wise to people you're going up against.
Coach, the style of play with an ACC opponent, is it significantly different than, say, maybe at school in the A-10 or another school from another BCS conference?
The players are significantly different. I mean, they're just better. You know, you can't get away with certain things that you could get away with playing against a school from a smaller conference. I mean, people can belittle recruiting rankings all they want, but you know, if you're playing against a team with guys that were recruited across the board in all the big leagues, there's a reason. You know, and you know, Coach Hamilton is one of the best recruiters there is. I mean, they don't take guys that can't play. I mean, those guys can really play. So, you know, again, when you're going up against those type of guys, you know, you're just not going to be able to get away with certain things that you could get away with against teams from a lesser conference.
Any other questions?
I just have one. The day after the Virginia win, there's like 5 or 6 players that went to Children's Hospital to meet with some of the kids. Can you talk about why that was important, especially the timing of it?
Well, we didn't time it to do it the day after the Virginia game. That was set up for a while in advance. You know, Greg, we try to do as much as we can in terms of, you know, what we call community outreach. You know, our guys have busy schedules, but there are opportunities where we can take a couple hours here, a couple hours there, and spend some time with some people that we feel that would benefit from that time. And you know, what ends up happening is our guys benefit from it. I don't know if you saw the video of those guys, but they end up having as much fun as, in this case, the kids at Children's Hospital, or if it's, you know, if it's a group of kids at a school, you know, or something like that. You know, our guys end up benefiting from it as much as anything. So that wasn't timed that way at all. In fact, it was just a coincidence. But you know, I think it says a lot that you got Travion Graham, for instance. He hits a game-winning shot. He's on SportsCenter. He gets all this attention, and then, you know, he's one of those guys there, along with Javante Reddick, Breonte Weber, and some of our other main guys. That's something in college athletics that I think is underexposed. And I'm not saying that we did that for attention, and I'm not saying that we particularly need exposure, but I think student athletes in general, not just at VCU, but across the country, do a really good job of reaching out and spending time with people in the community and doing a lot of things that are outside of, you know, hitting a baseball or shooting a basketball or throwing a football. And obviously, the nature of our culture is to cover those sports and what they do on the field or on the court, but there's a whole lot more to them than that.
Coach, I want to go back to the tournament real quick. I know you talk about how difficult it is to have BCS schools come here to play you guys.
Yes.
Going into a season, how much point of emphasis is it to play or focus on these different in-season tournaments like this one in Puerto Rico? Last year, you guys went to the Battle of Atlantis to face these BCS schools on a neutral.
Well, that's the number one reason that we play in these sorts of events is we're going to get an opportunity to play against teams on a neutral floor that, for the most part, we're not going to get to play here at the Siegel Center. And, you know, neutral floor usually is neutral. I mean, there's no advantage either way from a fan standpoint or a home court advantage, which obviously is not as good as having them here, but it's much, much better than just going to their place and not getting a return game. So that's the biggest benefit of what they call exempt events, and we're allowed to play in one each year. And although some people may think we choose the exempt event based on the exotic location, the real criteria is who are we going to get to play. And we would never choose an event until we know who else is playing. And what we've been fortunate, these last few years, we've played in some events with some very good teams, and again, it gives you a chance to test yourself early, but it also gives you an opportunity for quality wins. But you got to go out and get them. It's just an opportunity. You got to make it happen.
Any questions?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.